More, I'm now joined by Vice Admiral Robert Harward, former Deputy Commander of U.S. Central Command and retired Navy SEAL. It is good to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight. And I do want to start with Iran. President Trump just returning from China a short time ago, and he says that President Xi agrees that the Strait of Hormuz must remain open. But it doesn't appear that China is necessarily poised or willing to help with that. We do hear from Chinese officials who say, in their view, this war never should have started. Do you expect China will help or play a role in ending the war?
No, I think China's going to stay out of this conflict, does not want to get involved. But again, their interests are at play here, but so are European interests, the rest of the Gulf nations. And so far, everyone's staying out of the conflict except the president and this administration. You have seen offer from other GCC countries in the region. So I think that's going to play out as well, especially if President Trump decides to strike at the end of this week. I would note it's also important to realize that we're in the middle of Hajj, the annual pilgrim to Mecca that all Muslims are required to make during their lifetimes. And it's interesting that there are currently 30,000 Iranians in Saudi to attend that. And they will be there this week staging for the actual Hajj next Saturday. So I would expect if the president's going to strike, it may be after the Hajj is completed.
Appreciate that context. We do know overnight there was the drone strike, sparking a fire near a UAE nuclear power station. Some believing the attack is Iran's doing. What is your reaction to this? What do you see happening next?
Well, you can't depend on Iran for anything, to negotiate with a clear conscience, to try to meet any of the objectives, to adhere to the ceasefire. It's what they've always done. They've done whatever they've wanted to do with no ramifications. And now this administration's holding them accountable. But I would also say the Iranian people have become very fed up and tired of their own leadership. And so this economic embargo and the pain they're suffering, the regime, the government's in place, is going to be held accountable not only by our president and this administration, but by the Iranian people at the end of this as well.
I do want to pivot to the growing tensions with Cuba as well. We're monitoring this new report from Axios today claiming the U.S. is now eyeing a new drone threat from the nation, specifically perhaps plans to attack the U.S. base at Guantanamo Bay. What do you make of this, and are we on the verge of another international conflict?
Well, drone warfare has been evolving quickly, especially since Ukraine started using these cheap, affordable, expendable kinetic drones. And that's proliferated throughout the Middle East. And I wouldn't be surprised in Cuba, much less anywhere else. They're cheap, they're affordable, they're easy to produce, and they're tough to defeat. So if the intelligence community knows that, I'm sure they're addressing means to how to address those. And I wouldn't say after they're used, before they're used. So if Cuba was to be foolish enough to do that, I think the ramifications would be significant and it would justify military action, something I'm sure they don't want. And aside from the drones, they really have nothing else to defend themselves with.
You know, President Trump has said that he plans to move on Cuba as soon as the war with Iran is over. If you were advising the president on this, what would you advise?
Well, I think the president, in most of his actions, tends to stay away and use force kinetic activity as a last resort. And then if he does, he uses it very strategically, as he did in Venezuela. So I would expect the same thing here in Cuba. But as you know, a large portion of the Cuban population, and the same with the Iranian population, wants this government changed. They want to get on with their lives and live like the rest of the world is. So again, I think in some cases, in some situation, they'd be greeted with open arms in some parts of Cuba.
Vice Admiral Robert Harward, appreciate your insight and analysis tonight. Thank you.